Yesterday, we looked at this clip that went viral of Trump talking about boot edge, as he specified. And now Buttigieg has responded and exposed some of what Trump was saying here. First, let's remind ourselves of the clip, and then we'll look at Buttigieg's response to it.
Guarantee to Americans that travel is going to go back to normal once the government all the air travel
better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and technology for our control towers, and we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Boot edge, they say is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Boot edge was the Secretary of Transportation, and he spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit. That's why you had a helicopter crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off.
So him grinning while he's saying helicopter smashing into an airplane, something a little bit twisted about that, considering it happened when he was president, what he's referring to, when he was president. But he's blaming boot edge for it. Now, instead of me laying out some of what was wrong there, I'll let Pete Buttigieg respond.
So now that Chasten and I have got the kids to bed, hopefully third time's the charm, I got to talk about something that happened earlier today. So I was here in the kitchen getting dinner ready when someone sent me this video of the president attacking me from the Oval Office.
We had a guy named Buttigieg. Boot edge, they say is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Boot edge was the Secretary of Transportation, and he spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit.
Now, other than mostly pronouncing my name right, everything he said was wrong. He told a story about what's going on with air traffic control, which was both false and confusing. He just made a bunch of shit up about air traffic control. This is a system that was in pretty rough shape by the time he lost in 2020 and we took it over. So we improved it, including launching a long-term communications fix that is still underway that he is now passing off as his idea. And thanks to our work, this year he became the first president in decades to inherit an air traffic control workforce that was actually growing instead of shrinking. The most important part of the whole system is the air traffic controllers themselves, which is why it is disgraceful that the president went on social media earlier today and attacked controllers after everything that they've been through, and at a moment when America has a serious air traffic control shortage. So why would the president be picking a fight with air traffic controllers today of all days? Probably it's to change the subject from how he and Republicans are increasing your health insurance premiums on purpose right now.
Okay, so that was his response. This air traffic control, what really is it? What is it that is causing it to be so difficult to find new people? Can we pass a bill, pay them more, pay them lots, make it the most coveted position? Because you're hearing Sean Duffy come out, and the way they talk about it is like, man, these people are exhausted, barely holding their eyes open. Southwest, you can go. And they are retiring a lot, and we don't have enough. And it's apparently an accomplishment to get the workforce growing. And it had been shrinking before. And it feels... I don't know exactly what they do. I'm assuming they're communicating with the planes and saying, you go now, you go here. Make sure Luke gets his peanuts, all those things. And his mimosa, if it's a special day. And coordinating, but it surely can't be so impossible to find new ones. Very confusing. But great response there from Buttigieg. Then I was thinking about, with all of the chaos, this is what drives me crazy. A lot of times Democrats will also attack their predecessor, like Biden would do that, and that makes sense. You should, if it's justified. Especially in Biden's case, he was taking over all this chaos that had happened in the pandemic and Trump was handling it. But I feel like there's a level of, we're taking steps to address some of the problems that are being brought up to us in these press conferences. Every time there's an issue under Trump, price increases, despite him reversing the trend of the cooling off, it's still Biden's fault, according to him.
I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
Literally said that. Or Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, is constantly saying, Pete Buttigieg, Trump there, Pete Buttigieg. And MAGA is not at all directing their ire at Trump or the transportation secretary whenever there are transportation issues. Whereas this is what was happening when Pete Buttigieg would dare to take paternity leave.
Pete Buttigieg has been on leave from his job since August after adopting a child. Paternity leave, they call it, trying to figure out how to breastfeed. No word on how that went.
Stuff like that, talking about Pete Buttigieg, quote unquote, breastfeeding. Michael Knowles had a title, Pete Buttigieg on vacation to chest feed his baby. Well, if you need clarification, I'll give it to you.
As you might imagine, we're bottle feeding and doing it at all hours of the day and night. And I'm not going to apologize to Tucker Carlson or anyone else for...
But I remember this period of time where there were airplane problems and flights were being canceled. And it had a lot to do with the companies, the system they were operating, like Southwest, that Southwest controversy. But all of the anger was directed at Buttigieg, which, fine. When you're in a leadership position, you're going to get credit when things go well under you and a lot of blame when things don't, however much either of those are connected to the fact. I get that that's the case, but that standard's not at all held to Sean Duffy, even when he says stuff like this. Yesterday we saw him going, it's going to get worse, and even when the shutdown's over, it's still going to be bad. What? But you're the guy.
Listen, you can walk outside. I can't guarantee your safety. You get in your car. I can't guarantee safety, but I have to look at the risk in this system, and then we have to make decisions based on that risk and based on that pressure.
I can't guarantee safety is a crazy thing for the transfers. I know it's true. What if a bomb dropped on your head, as Trump said?
What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
Of course, you can't guarantee anything in this life. And a plane, however safe the system is, operating or something crazy can happen. But for the transportation secretary to be like, oh, yeah, is it bad? It's bad. Okay, so what are you gonna do to improve it? Well, we're gonna do a lot of things, but it's gonna get worse. And I can't guarantee your safety. We're all just flipping a coin out here, whether we're gonna make it to the next day. So hope that your last flight is not this person, what they experienced, Delta passenger trapped by humid biohazard seatmate who pooped his pants. That could be, this wasn't the person's last flight, but that could be your last flight. This is what's happening in the world. This is what's happening on flights. Literal poop smears on the seat. I feel bad for whoever pooped, actually. Everyone's really sympathetic to the passenger who was trapped next to the pooper. What about the pooper? Something clearly went very wrong. It's not like you wake up and you say, I'm going to crap my pants today on a plane. Obviously, something bad happened. Can we have some sympathy for the pooper, not just the poopy? Or the pooped next to, pooped upon? What about the person whose clinch didn't work? Do you know the feeling of that, where you're trying to clinch so badly, the thing's occupied, but the power of the poop stronger than the power of the clinch? I have more sympathy for that person. But the point is, you could be that person or the person next to them. And he's saying, I can't even guarantee that you'll get safely to your destination. So your last memory could be smelling someone and the burrito they had yesterday. That could be the last scent in your nose, according to Sean Duffy. It's sick. This is the world we're in. I don't hear them talking about Sean Duffy like they talked about Pete Buttigieg. And they just went on a whole tirade about how paternity leave is gay or something.
Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation, is missing in action because he is on paternity leave. I got in a lot of trouble over the weekend on Twitter because I made fun of Pete Buttigieg's paternity leave. And I would say just about every conservative is mocking this incident, the Buttigieg paternity leave. But they're doing so with varying degrees of breadth. Meaning everyone is mocking the idea that the transportation secretary just disappeared, a cabinet secretary disappears for 2 months. But there's more wrong to this story than just that, all right? So I think...
And he has a principled opposition, I guess, to paternity leave. What do you need? And he kept saying, like, what are you going to be chest feeding? Or you want to see your baby. Have you ever thought of that? Like maybe in a pivotal time of development, when it gets birthed, you want to be around to help. It's kind of an important time. You want them to say dada instead of saying dada to the mailman, as it goes, as it were. But I don't see them doing the same thing with Duffy. Now, I know in this case, it's because of the shutdown. They're saying, well, that's Democrats' fault, so what is he going to do? But this is a actually much more systemic issue, systematic issue with the FAA and with our airport system and all of that. Reminder, it's still safe statistically, if that makes you feel better. I'm not trying to fearmonger you out of taking flights. You just might fail to clinch and poop in your seat. It could happen.